So lesson 2.1, we're going to go into a function that's very important, the linear function. We're going to study lines a lot in this unit. And f of x is really just another name for y. Now, your first learning target is that I can complete a function table. And we're going to see a lot of tables today. We're going to have an x and a y. Generally, what's going to happen is you'll have an x value, and then you'll be asked to find the f of x, which is the y. Now, of course, you could do this by hand. And that's fine. And some of you might even start working ahead. You'd say, look, if x is equal to -4, that means plug in -4 for x, work that out. -2 times -4 is an 8, and 8 minus 1 is going to get you a 7. One of the things you have to do on your first homework assignment is to generate a table. Now, it wouldn't take you too long to work all these out, but I told you to take your calculator out. And I'd like for you to see how your calculator can really, really help you tremendously. Look, normally you're on your home screen. If you look at your top row, you can see that the top left button is y equals. So we're going to do this a lot. And my suggestion is you type this in too. Just don't watch me. Hit y equals. Now you can see I've already typed this in. But undoubtedly, some of you don't have this. You've got something from last spring where, whoever was using the calculator had something else. You might want to get rid of this. How do I clear it out? Well, if you look right here at this down arrow, right below it is the clear button. And you just press clear and it's going to wipe it out. And then what do? You just type in your y equals. It's a -2, so I'm going to go down to the bottom and type a negative, a 2. The X is one of the most famous and often used buttons that you're going to use in this class. The X is so frequently used, it's near the top. And if you go to where your down arrow is, if you just go a couple of buttons to the left, that's where your X can be found. Then I'm going to press -1. And that in and of itself is, half the battle. You're almost done. What we're going to do next is we're going to go to the table, the second button, and then the graph. If you look at the top right button in blue up here in the top, it says table. That means I have to hit second, then I have to hit table. And you can scroll up or down. You can up or down arrow, and you're going to be able to get the values that you're looking for. I'm going to pause the video right now and walk around, and Miss Ayala can walk around too, to make sure that you guys... All right, you can see, at -2, we're at 3. At 0, we were at -1. If you scroll down some, at 1, you're at -3. And then at 3, you were at -7. So the calculator can really help you out. You're also more than welcome to just punch it out, plugging those x values in one by one. This makes life easier, of course. Okay, a relation. Listen, a relation is a mapping of input values with output values. And the inputs are usually represented as x. The outputs are usually represented as y. The domain is a set or a collection of inputs. So the domain is what x values can be used. The range is the set of outputs or y values. If you ever forget, x goes before y in the alphabet. D goes before R in the alphabet. It's in alphabetical order. So if you're ever thinking, wow, was domain X or Y, you could just say domain and range, which one comes first? X goes before Y, they kind of match up. So a function is a relation, which is a set of points, where each input has exactly one output. So given two different ordered pairs, the x values don't repeat. That's what you most need to know about a function. You're going to have a list of ordered pairs, a list of points. If you have a function, those x values don't get doubled up. They never repeat twice or three times. Each x value just shows up one time. All right, so listen, some of the problems on your homework, we have to talk about it, and it takes a little while to talk about it, but I do want to tell you the honest to goodness truth. It's going to be short. Look, this right here could be one of your homework problems. Here's a set, a collection. Notice that this set has some brackets right here, okay? And it says find the domain. Well, the domain was what? The x or the y values? What do you think? The x. So what you got to do, guys, is just make a list of the x values. Now, you can go in increasing order if you'd like. Or you could list them as they occur. What you do need to do, though, is to include them in those brackets. We found out earlier this morning that if you just type out the numbers, Alex will mark it wrong. A set is really a collection of things. So, and I'll show you how to do that in a minute. But you're going to want to make those brackets show up. It's a collection. One other thing, if you ever get a repeat, don't write it down twice, just write it once. Or if an x value were to show up 3 times, don't write it down repeatedly, just you'll write it down once. What about your range? Again, we'd need brackets. How would we write that? What do you think? 3, that's your first y value. What else? -5, -3, -9. You could go from the smallest to the biggest if you wanted to, but this is enough. With the brackets, you're going to be good. Should there ever be a repeat, like if -3 would have shown up twice, you just write it down the one single time. Okay? Real fast, guys. Just want to show you that your next example, things can look a little bit different. What do you think your domain's going to be here? What numbers do we have for our domain? 3. What else? -7. What else? 9 and 5. Now, look, if we would have had this last point instead of 5W, if it would have been 3W, like I said, you don't write the 3 down a second time, right? How about your range? What do we have there? C, D, -4, and W. Now, I do want to point out to you guys that on Alex, what you're going to have to do is, when you're naming the domain and the range, you're going to have a times button, but up above, you've got the brackets. You're going to have to type those brackets. Look at this. Here's a problem. Hopefully you can all see this right here. What number should I type in for my domain here? What's the first one? A 6. Then we say comma, then a -3, then a comma, and then what? A 2. Perfect example going down to the range. You need the brackets. You're going to have to go above the times and click it. Then the brackets show up. Hey, what's my range here? 0, comma, then what? -8. Don't write -8 twice. Kids were doing that last period. Alex is going to mark it wrong because that set isn't written as simply as possible. So if, like I said, if your y values get doubled up or your x values, just write it down once. Okay? So that's what you need to know. Get those brackets in there. Okay? So hopefully we're doing all right. Let's take a look at the back page. The back page. Hey, we're going to determine whether we have a function or not. Do you guys remember what was so true about a function? What do we want to happen? X does not repeat. X does not repeat. If X does not repeat, we've got a function. If X is going to repeat, then it's not a function. Now, sometimes kids look at this and they'll say, wow, Mr. Dobner, I don't even know what's going on here. What's with all these arrows? It's just an input and then an output. This rock and -3, the rock is your X, the Y is -3. Look at this next arrow. That's paper, comma, -3. Finally, you've got scissors. By the way, this is taken from Alex. I actually did a cut and paste and just put it into our notes here. But here's the big question. Do our X values repeat? No. Rock, paper, scissors, they're all different, right? They're all different. So would this be a function? Yes. Yes, it is. Okay. Look at this. -5, comma, moon. Look, they'll put words in there sometimes. Look, right here is -5, comma, star. Over here we've got 18, comma, moon. We've got 18, comma, sun. Is this a function? No way. What's the problem? Your X values have repeated. As soon as you had -5 showing up twice, as soon as you see 2 arrows coming out, game's over. It's not a function. Okay? How about relation number 3? Hey, we don't even have to rewrite them. Is this a function? Yes. Why? Because you look at your X values, they don't repeat. You don't care if Y values repeat. Sometimes kids get upset. They'll say, look, I've got a 7 and a 7. Well, guys, those are your Y values. You don't care about that. You're just worried about X values repeating. How about relation 4? No, I'm hearing a lot of kids say no. What's the problem? You get a repeat. Where? 3, comma, -5, 3, comma, -4. Your X value has shown up more than once. If X ever shows up more than once, you don't have a function. Finally, the vertical line test. The vertical line test says a relation is a function if and only if no vertical line intersects the graph at more than one point. Well, here's what's going on. A vertical line right here would only touch once. Here it would only touch once. Here it would only touch once. As long as you would draw a vertical line and only intersect one time, that means you're good. That means you have a function. That means it's yes. Right? How about this next one? Would this be a function? No. Why? You're getting multiple intersections. And what that means is you might have like a 1, comma, 7, a 1, comma, 3. Your X values are repeating. Your X values repeat when that happens. So if a vertical line touches more than once anywhere, your answer is no, it's not a function. How about this next example? No. Why? Because right here and here, or right here and here, as long as you find any vertical line where it touches more than once, it means your X values are showing up twice or more. How about this last one? It is, because look, you only cross this point once, you only cross this point once. You'll never get a vertical line to hit twice. So kids might say that looks kind of weird. It's just like 6 points. You bet. But you could never intersect more than once. So that's it, guys. We're going to be doing homework 2.1a. Homework 2.1a. Please look for that.